Nick Seabasty, founder of Deadbread, has seamlessly woven together his passions for BMX, skateboarding, art, and fashion to create a brand that is more than just a label. It's a family. Dedicated to giving back to the cultures that shaped him, Nick's journey is one of authenticity, community, and unwavering commitment. In this interview, we explore the inspirations, challenges, and future vision of a true trailblazer, transforming sport, art, and fashion into a force for good.
Thank you so much, Nick Seabasty, for joining me here on AwareNow to share the space and to share your story. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Well, so let's begin this way. BMX, skateboarding, art, and fashion are at the core of Deadbread. Can you share a specific moment or experience from your journey in these cultures that significantly influenced the creation of your most fabulous brand?
Not necessarily. It's like I've always been involved in art. Like I go back to like my middle school paperwork and stuff like that, and it's like everything's just covered in like artwork. And I rode BMX that entire time since I was like 11 years old, and I skateboarded a bit when I was a teenager, and it just, I don't know, over the time, just being involved in both of those things and loving artwork, it just kind of all worked together. And then being involved in the BMX and skate industries over the years, like I've picked up a lot of things, learned a lot of things, and then just kind of got really honed in on the clothing side of things and loved doing that stuff. And I just looked at like t-shirts as like canvases, and I don't know, I'm like obsessed with the quality of clothing too. So like, yeah, it just working on all that stuff was big to me. So.
Well, I believe you on the quality front of things, because my boys, as much as they wear their Deadbread shirts, they are in fabulous quality. So yeah, it works out very well. Let's pause a moment before we get deeper into your story to talk about the name Deadbread. Please explain.
So it's kind of like the thing between my friends and I. There was a song lyric actually that we'd always like say as a joke to each other, and it always stuck in our heads, just like the words Deadbread. So at one point, this girl I knew who worked for Vine, that worked with the influencers on Vine, she was trying to leave working for them and start doing what she was doing on her own, but she couldn't use any of the people she worked with in her portfolio. So with me doing what I was doing in BMX, she wanted to work with me. And she was like, oh, well, you know, I would want you to have some type of like merchandising thing behind you, like a Nick Seabasty clothing line type thing. And I was like, nah, I don't like that idea at all. And I was like, but I've worked with clothing throughout BMX and skateboarding, and it's always something that's interested me. And I'd love to do that, but I just wanted it to be a different name. Since Deadbread was always stuck in our heads, I was like, well, Deadbread makes sense. Like it rolls off the tongue. And then I came up with the logo, drew it up, and it just kind of all stuck. So yeah, that's how it all started.
That's wild. And I like that it rhymes. Deadbread was in your head. So that's like your origin story. And I think that's fantastic. So you describe Deadbread as more than just a brand, calling it a family. So my question for you here is, how do you foster this sense of family with the people that you work with your supporters? Can you share a story that sort of exemplifies that connection?
Yeah. So the brand started in 2016, and everyone that I had involved with it from then has always just been like super close friends that I grew up with or met along the way. I try to just incorporate people that I know that have similar interests and do similar things. Like my friend Small Fry back in New Jersey, he would do a lot of video editing and stuff like that. My friend Trent here was helping out a lot of that stuff too, video wise. So yeah, it was just like, I don't know, we were all more like family to each other than we were just like me saying, hey, I want to pay you to do like make a video or something for this brand. And then when I opened up the storefront here, I wanted to continue having that feeling to it. And that's why I have the couch, the TV, so people can come in, hang out, just talk, watch videos. And even that, like the Wassy Posse skate crew that hangs out here all the time, like they've kind of become like a family. And Dylan is one of the guys who I even have watched the store when I'm out of town. And, it just, we've just kind of kept that whole like tight knit thing going with it this entire time. So, yeah.
That's really, I love how organic it is. It's not that you're trying to force one thing or another, you're just allowing things to evolve as they do.
Yeah, that's the thing is people ask me a lot, like, about business in general, but clothing brands specifically. And they ask me like, oh, should I do it? How do you do it? This and that. And I always just tell them like, you better love it. And it better be like something you love doing first off, because like any business is hard to the point where it's like you're going to want to give up if you don't love doing it. But then, I don't know, it's just like you said, not forcing it and letting things organically happen. I feel like if you love it, it's just going to happen that way.
Well, so, let's talk about culture. So giving back to the cultures that have shaped you, it's a big part of Dead Bread's mission. Can you tell us about a project or about an initiative where Dead Bread made a significant impact on these communities?
Oh, yeah. No, like I said, even just like as simple as having the couch here with the TV and video games, like kids being able to just come in and hang out. Like, there's kids and like teenage kids that just come in and go, is it okay for me to just like sit and watch video? I'm like, yeah, that's what it's there for, man. Let's go ahead and sit down. But down from that to like us holding events ourselves, like at the skate parks or out in the streets of like Detroit. We've done them in Phoenix, out in New Jersey. We try to host our own events and sponsor other events. And even here at the store, we've done like photo shows for photographers and artists. And just anything that is incorporated with it. Like I said, I have a lot of friends who have talents, and I just try to incorporate them with it too. So,
Well, and I love how you're saying, like, even just there at your space in your store, to have a screen, to have a space, to have that couch, just creating space for people to be present, to be engaged, and not so disconnected, but to be pulled together through common interests. And
there's even like 3 or 4 different groups of skaters in town here that like, they all skate, they all do the same thing, but they don't like skate together very often. But there's like a group of 4 kids here, a group of 4 kids here, and like another group of 3 kids, and then they all kind of just like run into each other here and then end up hanging out down here, and then they'll go and skate together out in the streets. And it is kind of funny seeing how it all works.
Absolutely. So combining BMX, skateboarding, art, and fashion into this cohesive brand, I imagine it must have come with its own set of challenges in some way. What has been the most unsurprising lesson that you have learned in this journey, and how has it inspired you to keep pushing forward?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy because, like, I don't know. Like I said, I just tried to make it happen organically, and in the beginning, it was kind of like a hobby to me. Like I said, I loved doing it. Even after that whole thing with that girl who wanted me to do all that stuff, that whole thing just like went away. She decided she wasn't going to do that, and then I didn't really do anything with Dead Bread. I had the name and the logo sitting around for like a year and a half, and then when I had my daughter and I moved to Michigan, since the logos were sitting around and everything, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do something with this. And I saved $100 of $single bills. So like anytime I had a $single bill in my pocket, I would just put it aside. And that's what I ran the first batch of, I think it was hats with. And then that stemmed into those hats selling, me ordering some t-shirts, and then the beanies, and I just kept snowballing it a little bit. But like I said, it was more of a hobby, so it was I didn't like fully focus on it too hard. And then it was ran out of my apartment, of course, and it was just one of those things. When I had spare money to do it, like had some things to work with, I was like, I'm just gonna make some shirts and stuff. In 2020, I looked at opening the storefront, then COVID hit, so I backed off. And then in 2022, when this was becoming an idea, I was like, you know what? It's time to just make it happen and try it out and see what happens. And opening the storefront was the biggest hurdle, just because it was a whole new thing. It wasn't just me running out of my apartment and being able to make stuff when I wanted to make stuff. It was like, oh, the store has to nonstop be stocked and have new things coming in all the time, and I have to be here all the time. And so it was just a whole new animal that was like a big hurdle to figure out and get through. And coming up on 10 years here now, so yeah, I've kind of gotten past a lot of those big hurdles, but it's still tough at times. But
Right.
I can't complain by any means. So
Well, and back to your point, that if you're going to do this, you better love it. You better love it. So
exactly. I look at it and like, there's times where like, I don't know, I left my day job last year and like, this is my full-time thing. And there's times where if I didn't love it and I didn't grow up in the environment that I grew up in and like could live off of pretty much nothing, then most people would give up, in a sense of just like, this isn't worth it. But I just grew up in an environment that I was kind of used to that anyway. And since I love it so much, it's just like, no, I'm making it work. So
yeah, just keep on keeping on.
yeah,
So looking ahead, this will be my last question for you today. Looking ahead, what are your hopes and aspirations for Dead Bread? Like, how do you envision the brand evolving, and what new ways do you hope to give back to these cultures and communities that are so much a part of Dead Bread?
yeah. It's funny because like, when it comes down to certain business related things, they always ask like, what's your 5-year plan, this and that. And I was like, I don't know. It's like, my 5-year plan is to continue doing what I'm doing and just let it keep building itself up and growing as it has. And I really don't ask much out of it besides that. And with it growing, I just want to be able to keep doing more as I have been doing, but there's obviously more. Holding the events, doing like the scavenger hunt things around town, expanding on all that stuff. Just doing what we do here at the store on a daily basis. So I don't know. It's not really like I want to hit X amount of dollars by next year, or I want to do this or that. It's just like, I just wanted to see it keep growing and getting bigger and better, and not really on a scheduled timeline by any means, but just do it organically how I've been doing it, and seems to be working. So just keep at it.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that, not forcing yourself to focus on an end point, but rather to focus on this point in time, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just got to make sure things are running smoothly now and focus on how to continue making the store better, and instead just make it keep building up, instead not having like I have to be by this point by this next year. Like, maintain and keep going.
And that should be the lesson, right, to all founders, entrepreneurs out there, just to say, because it's like with kids, right? It's not like we don't expect them to know what they want to do or what they want to be when they grow up. We give them that grace to figure it out as they go. And again, giving ourselves that grace, right, to be able to say, not sure where we're going to go with this, but we just know the direction, right?
Exactly. You just know which way you want to go and work on that and hope for the best. But I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so speaking of hope for the best, we wish you the best, and we see the best in all that you're doing here in this community and outside of it. Thank you for sharing your story, Nick, and thank you for helping all of us become a bit more aware now. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, thank you.